Why do some young people become homeless?
That's a hard question because there are so many reasons, and young people have also different ways of accounting for an experience of homelessness at different times in their lives. They may see it differently. And the causes intersect with one another too, in a way that's really hard to tease them apart. But young people, there are some things that we know to be more or less true. Like, for example, just that it's really expensive right now to rent a place to live that is safe anywhere for anyone. Mm-hmm. And so young people are particularly vulnerable to discrimination in rental markets. And so landlords are often really nervous about renting to young people and may just explicitly say they won't unless they are students at university or college. So that makes it difficult for young people. But the cost of renting in the right now in most Ontario cities is just prohibitive. Young people can't afford to rent or can't afford to rent in an apartment that they feel safe in. Prior to the moment of a young person having to make a decision to move out on their own, there may be things going on in their lives to precipitate this, so that we know that young people who experience conflict in the home, and the conflict may be because parental stress, the conflict may be because they've come out and there are prejudices against like transphobia in the home or heterosexism in the home that make the home an unsafe place for a young person to be. And so the safer move is to leave, may precipitate the work of trying to find housing in an untenable rental market. We know that too many young people actually come out of our child welfare system and don't have stable housing when they leave. Too many young people come out of our youth justice system, and the plan for rehabilitation is to place them at a homeless shelter. So again, they don't have housing when they leave. Too many young people come out of inpatient mental health situations without stable housing and may go in because they don't have stable housing. So there are these institutional pathways into homelessness as well. I think lately also I'm worried about stress in families that become stress in children's lives and in young people's lives, and people have lost jobs recently in unprecedented ways in Canada and globally. And I think this is going to have an impact on family stress levels and family mental health, and thus youth mental health. And I think I know in some communities they're seeing more young people that are unable to navigate experiences of housing precarity using strategies that might have worked before COVID. So where it might have been okay to couch surf a year and a half ago, this is no longer something people are willing to accommodate. And so more young people end up using or having to use the shelter system or sleep outside because stress has erupted in the home and they have to leave. And the ways that they may be able to seek respite in their extended social networks are no longer available to them because of COVID restrictions. So as I said, there's so many pathways that can lead to homelessness for young people, sometimes just in a really temporary way. Lots of young people I've worked with would say, I was never homeless. Sometimes my mom kicked me out, right? Like there are these episodic experiences young people have that can often be navigated and weathered. Mm-hmm. And then there are the more pronounced and longer term experiences of homelessness that young people have that can't be weathered as easily, like where institutional supports are really going to be required in order for them to restabilize.
Mm-hmm. So there definitely is a link to sort of societal factors at the time. I think about the domestic violence numbers increasing with COVID.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And so you're going to see that.
Totally. And young people's connections to schools, so that I know a lot of guidance counselors have been really worried about young people that they knew were precariously housed, staying with other families in the school, and they could keep tabs on when they would see them. But since COVID has reduced young people's access physically to school spaces and then to guidance counselors, they've lost track of kids. There's lots of kids, they don't know where they are anymore. And so yes, COVID has certainly destabilized things.